Okay, so we're going to have some special guests on the podcast today, and this is all down to Crafty Beer Lad. Now, let me bring him in. It's Jake, Crafty Beer Lad. How are you doing, Jake?
Hello, Jimbo. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on the podcast again.
Yeah, no worries at all. I know you've sent us a couple of beer reviews recently to Ale and Radio as well, and one of the beer reviews that caught my eye, that was that stood out straight away and seemed really interesting. And you put it obviously on your Instagram account as well, Crafty Beer Lad, was one from Hive Mind. And you said, well, let's try and get the brewery on and let's have a little bit of a chat with us. And so we can obviously tell all of our listeners on Ale and Audio, but obviously on Ale and Radio as well, all about them. So let's bring them in. I believe this is Matt and Kit from Hive Mind. How are you both doing?
Hey guys, yeah, good. How are you both?
Yeah, not bad at all. Thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your what must be busy schedules to join us. But this is really, really interesting, isn't it? It's very, very unique as well. So just to get a bit of background on you both then. So we've got Matt. What's your role at the brewery, Matt?
Yeah, mainly production. Beekeeping at the moment. It's a busy time of year for honey. So I'm the beekeeper and production manager at the moment at the meadery. Yeah, and that's what I tend to get up to on a daily basis.
So starting off there, how many breweries have a beekeeper? Do you think you might be one of the only ones?
I'd like to think so. Yeah, no, I think there's not that many. We definitely do. Yeah.
I'd choose a job title really, like chief bee whisperer or production manager, or yeah.
I mean, there's other questions, not necessarily beer related, that I want to ask about that, and we'll get onto that shortly. I'm sure everyone's got this question on their lips as well as to, about working with bees and so on. But Kit, what about yourself? What do you do at the brewery then?
So I try and do some sales and marketing for my part. So hence, meeting with Jake, and he very kindly reviewed one of our beers. I think it was last year. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about Christmas time.
Yeah. So I reached out to, I can't remember how we met really, but reached out to a few bloggers such as Jake, and just because mead is such or honey beer is such an unusual thing. The more people like Jake we can get to sort of try it and give their feedback and share it with their audience, the better really. So yeah, it's perfect really.
Well, it certainly will be my first time trying it. So tell us, obviously you're very unique. So tell us about, Hive Mind and what it is about Hive Mind that's so unique.
Yeah, go on, Matt.
So we're probably one of the only breweries that centre a lot of their things around honey and bees. That's probably what makes us the most unique. We're mostly a meadery. We do some really special beers, of which we're going to try one today. This one, yeah. But yes, so and I'm actually going to crack now, if I may.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's do it. Good idea.
But I think Matt's saying. I mean, we predominantly produce to mead, so fermentation on 100% honey, and then we do a few weird and wonderful brews, such as this one, which is a kind of a malt and honey co-ferment. I don't know the percentage, Matt. You'll know, but some of the malt is replaced with honey in this fermentation.
Yeah, so it's about 20% honey included, and then we condition on honey as well.
That's incredible.
Because I was speaking to another brewery actually about this brew. They were speaking to me about what we might potentially do together or something, and I was like, this brew is one of my favorite brews. And they mentioned this, and this is one of the questions I wanted to ask you. So you mentioned about it being conditioned with honey. So obviously mead is brewed with the honey, right? So is this brewed with the honey, and then is there also honey kind of like added afterwards as well? Because they were sort of saying that traditionally the honey flavor might disappear during the brewing process. So how do you kind of stop that? Or
it's a really good question. You use good honey that tastes really strong. So we're beekeepers, and we can isolate really good strains of honey that carry through the flavor. Also, it all depends what hops you use with it. So if you've got anything that's dry hopped or anything that's got a really a hop that's full of character, you're not going to get that much honey character through because the hop will just cover that up completely. What you will get is maybe a lightness because the honey ferments 100%. There's no unfermentable sugar in honey. So you'll get a lightness and a sort of perhaps a nice
dryness. Yeah.
Yeah, a dryness, absolutely. So it'll go all the way to dry, but you might not get honey, and especially if you use a really exciting hop. Yeah. So
That was what a lot of our early trial and error was around retaining the honey flavour while still making it kind of an authentic beer. But yeah, as other breweries have pointed out, and we've found out, honey will ferment all the way to dry, so you'll lose a lot of that. So yeah, retaining that, it kind of depends at what point you put the honey in as well. So we've heard of people putting it in as it's before boil, and then when you boil it, obviously all the lovely honey evaporates away. And
yeah.
so yeah, it just kind of depends when you add it, really, at what stages, and which honey you use as well. Because I think as is becoming more and more widely known, not all honey is equal, and I think that sort of the honey you buy in a supermarket will have much less sort of aroma and flavour than say from your local beekeeper. So yeah,
Absolutely.
if you use good honey.
And you've got Matt on site, so
Exactly. Rude not to.
Jimbo, what do you think, mate?
I think it's lovely. I think it's really sweet, isn't it? It's really nice. It's refreshing. And yeah, you can taste it. It's great. I mean, one of my questions was, what came first? Was it the brewery or the beehive? Like, was it which way around did it all start up?
So it's a good question.
Yeah, the bees. Yeah.
Kit and I used to brew ginger beer when we were really young, and so we've always kind of sort of trialed that and had a good time fermenting things. But I took up beekeeping when I was 13, so that was sort of fairly early on. And then I've been keeping bees since I was that age, so maybe 22 years now, which is quite scary. And so we had lots of honey, and Kit and I used to play around with it, and we were brewing some honey beer, I think, and we had this exact same thing. We're brewing the honey beer, we can't taste the honey. What are we doing wrong? And so we then took out all the malted barley as the fermentable and just made it with 100% honey. We dry hopped it as well, just as a bit of excitement and interest, because we quite enjoy some of the more exciting hop varieties. So we dry hopped it with, I think, Amarillo or Citra at the very early one, wasn't it? And then it was a really nice result, and so that kind of originated from there. And as a beekeeper, we
inadvertently made this beer style mead. So it was treated and brewed like a beer, so bottle conditioned and hopped and 4% ish. And but yeah, it was made out of only honey. So it was kind of it didn't quite know what it was, and we didn't know what to call it. And but as it turned out, when we looked into it, it was essentially a sparkling mead. So that was our kind of trial batch, and then we put it into the Great Taste Awards. We won a 2-star Great Taste Award for our first sort of commercial batch, really, and that's kind of what made us want to turn this into a career rather than just sort of a hobby, really. And I think also at that stage Matt was selling his surplus honey at kind of local farmers markets and things, and I think we'd both kind of experienced this at a market and then trying to sell a jar of honey for £6.50 or so for a jar of honey, real local unprocessed authentic honey, and everyone says, oh, it's a pound in Tesco's. Why is yours £6? And it's like, it's a different thing. It's a proper authentic real honey, and so we're thinking, okay, what else can we do with honey that is going to utilize that honey and then still be in a way that people can enjoy. And we thought turning it into a drink. No one really quibbles about sort of a pint, and you don't go to your barman. How much is that pint of beer? Well, you do now.
No, yeah, let's argue.
Now you do.
It's
for
just
sure.
another way of bringing honey to people who perhaps good honey, and putting it in front of different people and talking about the work the bees do and the honey, really. So that's what we sort of began with, and this is another way of doing it with the nectar beer.
So how long have you been a brewery then together?
Yeah, so we started up in 2018. We started trading at the end of that
6 years
year.
now, almost.
Yeah, because I was looking at this leaflet that you send with the package, and I saw 2018, and I thought that's not actually really that long ago. Like you guys are doing well.
Yeah, we've had a few things happen between now and then. So we had COVID and whatever.
Yeah,
we were discussing that today. Actually, it kind of it forced us down. We were deciding, like, we were sort of discussing the challenges of selling kegs versus small pack in cans and things, and trying to approach bars and things to sell our beer and our mead in keg in their bar, because we produce it in kegs as well. And it's been a real challenge actually. And we were thinking, if COVID hadn't happened, because we launched, not long before that, it forced us down the route of farmer shops, delis, garden centres, and packing it into cans and bottles and things. And we probably would have really, struggled. It's been hard, but we would have maybe found it even harder if we weren't forced down the route of direct to consumer, so website and supplying shops and things. It's kind of forced us into this format that we produce in. I think we also helped quite a lot. We had a slot on Countryfile during COVID, and whilst everyone was trapped at home, and then another show called what was it called? The Farmers Country. That's it. Yeah, the Farmers Country Showdown, and it gave a way to show people sat at home, like this is beekeeping, this is brewing, and this is selling it. So they saw the entire process, and then that really helped us actually.
So can you brew all the way through the year as well? Obviously, bearing in mind, you're a beekeeper, so you'll know how you do it, all that kind of thing. But in my head, obviously, the bees are more active at certain times of year, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we can brew all through the year in that honey keeps quite well. So the honey comes in during May and July. And so that's when we get the most in. And we only used to brew in the summer because we had the honey in then, but we've now got enough bees that we can then keep our supply going through the year, which is really nice for us. But you're right. You can brew all through the year.
And of course, environmentally as well, it's an amazing thing that you're doing, and I bet that's catching people's attention, and probably one of the reasons that obviously Countryfile came knocking would have been obviously because of the sort of importance of the protection of bees as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's a nice story. Our workforce really help pollinate and go around the countryside visiting flowers and making flowers give out seeds, which brings out more flowers, and it's just a really nice story. It's nice to work with that sort of thing.
I think when we started as well, you had was it 25 beehives when we in 2018, and now almost 200 beehives now. So
yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of there's genuinely more bees around our area, and now spilling into kind of Gloucestershire and other parts of Wales, where our beehives are kind of where there weren't beehives before. So the more we sell of this sort of stuff, it's kind of it directly impacts that as well. Also, I think there's also hidden benefits as well, like brewing mead is less energy intensive than brewing beer. You haven't got to boil malt, and you haven't got to boil things for hours, and the sugars are already extracted in the form of honey. So there's sort of benefits in that way as well, which has been good with all the energy price increases. We've kind of been a little bit less exposed than some breweries have for that.
Also the grain price has gone up crazy for beer. A lot of the brewers listening will know that grain prices have gone up a lot since the invasion of Ukraine and that sort of thing. So and so the honey, we're quite lucky that we're in touch with the raw material quite well. So that's been quite good too.
How many beers do you have in your range then, or have you got plans to do more?
Good question.
Yeah, there's this in our core range. There's three. So there's the nectar, so the honey pilsner. We do a hazy pale as well, which is a 3.4%, very light hazy pale, but we add pollen into it, so bee pollen as a dry hop ingredient, and that's a really interesting beer. I don't know if you had any of that, Jake, but we can.
Yeah, I had some. It was interesting. I personally felt that this one topped it, but it is also very nice.
we get some. I mean, it's a very light in terms of alcohol strength, but we were really keen to make like a full-bodied beer that was still light, and luckily, I don't want to give away any trade secrets, Matt, but so you could. But yeah, the pollen is full of protein, and it kind of gives a load of mouthfeel, and it really boosts the kind of the body of it. So you can have a low strength beer, but lots of body. So and then we do a porter as well, so a dark. And this was kind of a selfish brew that Matt and I did during COVID, whilst we were testing out some recipes, and everyone loved it. And then we won a 3-star Great Taste Award for it, so we kind of had to keep doing it because it was so well reviewed. But yeah, it's a 7% smoked honey porter, so it's similar to this in that we replace. I think that's 30% of the honey. Of the malt is replaced with honey in that one. But that's really special. That's and actually, lots of breweries don't produce like the dark beers in the summer, but people who like that sort of stuff kind of still want to drink it. A lovely summer's evening with a nice strong porter. It's pretty good stuff. But yeah, just done a collaboration with a place in Bristol to do called Fierce and Noble to do a honey saison. So I think we're going to kind of keep a small core range and then just do lots of sort of weird and wonderful collabs with other brewers who want to bring a honey twist to what they do.
And I can't remember. I just filmed my review the other day. I don't know if I said saison. I said something else. I had to Google it.
Yeah.
I didn't quite know how to pronounce it. So that's am I right in thinking that that's a style of beer that is what's different about the saison and a pilsner or anything else? Because it said on Google that it's dry and fruity, right? But is that right?
It is absolutely correct. Yeah. So the saison might have a higher fermentation temperature. It might also have a lower mashing temperature to make it a bit drier. It also uses a specific yeast strain. That's probably the defining characteristics. There's it's a semi-wild yeast that's special for making a saison. It can have all sorts of. It's not usually dark at all, but it can have lots of different things. So rye are quite often involved with the saison. Lots of different things in there as well. So it's historically and traditionally, it's a beer that used lots of leftover scraps from all the different things that the farmer had lying around his barn when he was in Belgium. And they used to sort of be fermented quite warm and with wild yeast. So that's pretty much what it is. It's very nice.
It would have been kind of like an open fermenter, and then whatever yeast landed in there would have kind of been what did it. So and now, which is always an option, but we wouldn't quite have known what it would have done. So you can now sort of choose a selected saison strain. But yeah, it's just and it's amazing. Amazing what the impact the yeast variety has on the flavor. So when we were kind of obviously mead is just honey, water, and yeast, and you can change any one of those three things and you'll get a completely different drink. So we were early on, we were trialed about 18 different yeasts. We got 18 demijohns. Everything was identical apart from the yeast strain, and just changing that one, every single one was completely different. So it was good fun. But yeah, it's just a yeast variety really.
Do you get out and about to many sort of festivals then? Have you got any booked in?
We did, and that's massive. That's been a massive part of our kind of business early on when things haven't been closed down with COVID. So we've done Brew London 3 times. The first time we did it as part of the accelerator scheme. So we actually won kind of the whole accelerator program. So it was quite funny going to a beer festival with mead, with sort of draft mead, and then winning. I think that was quite funny. But yeah, we do a few. We're reining back a little bit on that because we're quite a small team, and it's been a full on like the summer for us is mad. Matt is absolutely beekeeping crazy, because if you don't keep on top of it, they will let you know by leaving.
All right.
and then it's just it's a lot going on, and I don't know. It's probably something we're going to do more of next year. We did Festival last year, and that was good fun, just to kind of do lots of sampling and introducing people to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's we're asked so often to come to different festivals that we have to now not do them.
You mentioned it earlier as well about pubs then. So are you managing to get much of your beer into pubs? Is it something you're wanting to do more of?
Always. I think we launched everything in small pack and test it out direct to consumer. And then it's a real challenge. I think there's always this challenge of all the bars want to say that they want to do new funky stuff, and then when you give them something different and unusual, they then go, okay, well, how do we sell it? And I guess that's kind of why the Pilsner and the Hazy Pale came around, because it was a bit more familiar. It was kind of you know how to sell this stuff, so I know everyone knows how to drink it. But yeah, it's a real challenge, isn't it, Matt? I don't know, trying to get people to do. Yeah.
And people, when they get to a pub, we're quite well represented sometimes, and a lot of them in the small pack, in the fridge behind the barman. But actually, to get real estate on the taps in the front of the pub, there's a lot of different people. Some with massive budgets, some pretty massive multinational companies with lots and lots of different price mechanics they can pull. So yeah.
It seems to be more about distribution as well. So if it's as easy as possible for the bar to order it, or if you're in with one of their wholesalers that they use, then it's easy for them. But if you're just trying to occupy their guest line, and they've only often got one guest line, or it's just a real shame. Even the independent pubs locally to us, they've had a big brewery, a big chain fit out their bar and everything. So then they're tied anyway, even though it's independent. So it's that's been a bit of an eye opener for us. It's actually
it's tricky, isn't it? It's it's Heineken that buy all they do up all the bars, don't they? And then they go, here's £20,000 or whatever, or maybe more than that. I'm a bit naive when it comes to things like that. Do up your bar, but we'll have all of your taps apart from like say your guest line, and then it just cripples the the variety, which is a shame.
It's a shame for the consumer. It's a shame for the independent brewers that are really, keen to share the passion, the project, the quality of the stuff they make. But it's the consumer really that's missing out, because me and Kit go to some bars and you go, what's good? You can see the same stuff in every bar. You go to a really lovely, independent traditional place. You think, oh, they have some really exciting stuff. No, they've got the same tired brands. It's such a shame, really, that they haven't.
And I guess that's why tap rooms are such a thing now, because that's the only place you can really guarantee that you're gonna get something different, from the producer. So it's been a real challenge, actually, and I think the consumer wants different stuff. The pub wants to offer different stuff usually, but just the logistics and everything has made it really hard. We have just got on with a new platform called Seller, which means that bars can order direct from us, and it seems like it's a really good way of kind of cutting out the middleman, or the physical middleman. Like, I think Seller's still the middleman, but it's kind of, it cuts it out a bit, and it means that a bar can easily order 1 or 2 kegs from a brewery that's nowhere near them. So that's going to be interesting to see if that kind of helps a little bit. But it's that's kind of what's forced us down the small pack route and the direct to consumer route.
Well, I mean, I've got one more burning question to ask in a second, but I thought before we finish, we need to ask you, to tell us where people can find out more about you, where people can get your beers from. So, just listing your socials and your web addresses and stuff like that.
Yeah. So our website is hivemindmead.com, and so is our social is just hivemindmead. You should find everything on there, but our website actually is kind of where people go to discover us. And I think that we get so many like organic searches saying, like, where can I buy mead, and what is mead, and how do I drink mead? And a lot of them land on our site, which is great. So that's kind of hopefully where you can go to find out more about that sort of stuff.
Brilliant. Certainly, kind of brought mead to the more sort of like popular side of things, haven't you? Like, sort of modernized it a little bit, because like say everyone's got that sort of thing in the head that mead's like an old, I mean, I think I remember it from early doors, and there's the old bloke who always goes in and wants his pint of mead and stuff like that. But obviously you're like kind of doing that to sort of modernize it, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're doing our best to bring it into the modern, because a lot, as you say, a lot of people associate it with olden days, and but actually it's gluten free. There's quite good air miles, and that we have a lot of local ingredients in there, and we're actually beneficial for the environment. So it's actually got a lot of really nice modern trends that people are really into at the moment. So it's time it had a resurgence for sure.
Definitely. It fits in really well with what it's a natural product. It's low intervention. There's so many things that are kind of mean that mead is of the moment, and I think it's there's quite a few meaderies out there, and we were very keen not to be one of them who kind of cover all their stuff with monks and Vikings. It's a quick win, but it's devaluing the product, really, because it should be there with the contemporary high end wines and things. And actually, we do a high end traditional mead, which is no holes barred, like really authentic, 100% honey fermentation, and there's over half the bottle is honey. So it's a really lovely dessert wine, and that product won the Golden Fork for Wales. So it's like the BAFTAs of food and drink. So it won that for Wales last year, which is amazing. Actually, it kind of shows that mead doesn't have to be this novelty drink. It can be a contemporary wine, really. It can be, and you can serve it like a spritz as well. You can put it with prosecco and tonic water and turn it into a long drink. It's a really, really versatile thing. So it's kind of trying to get people to look at it fresh again, which is a challenge, but yeah.
Brilliant. Well, my burning question's coming right up, but before that, I want to say thank you to obviously to Matt, to Kit, and also to Crafty Beer Lad Jake for hooking us up, sending this beer out. It's very, very tasty. Everyone do check out Hive Mind. Absolutely brilliant. The burning question is, Matt, how many times and how often do you get stung?
Oh,
And where?
yeah. And where?
Oh.
Well, I answer all those things. So I quite like being dexterous because I raise queen bees a lot, and you've got to be very good with your hands. So I don't tend to wear gloves. So I get sometimes quite a hammering on the hands. But I try and look after bees that don't hurt me too much. And you get a bit of give and take. But the ones that are really mean, I tend to make a special mark and I replace the queen. So I might get stung. I don't know,
Okay.
5 or 10 times a day when I go out. Not massive. Where usually the hands, ankles are really painful. I had one up the nose once that really hurt.
Oh.
Yeah, that was really bad. Yeah. Anyway, sort of bonies sore.
I have witnessed Matt put on a pair of wellies, and this is actually during filming of one of the shows we were on. He put on a pair of wellies that I observed before he put them on was full of bees.
He doesn't mention this to me at the time.
No.
He just makes sure the camera is pointing in the right direction.
That's great TV. That's why they watch it really. And then I had to watch Matt trying to do a piece to camera, whilst every few seconds he was getting stung. So you could just see just one little tear going down.
With a little twitch every time that one connected. That was a fun day.
Absolutely brilliant. Once
we'll
again,
we'll have to get you guys down in the bee suit and
come down.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'd love that.
Jake's looking a little bit unsure about that.
Don't worry. Yeah, we do beekeeping courses, and no one has ever been stung on our beekeeping courses. We look after those people really well.
We do mead making courses as well. So if you guys want to come down and do a course with us, you make 4.5 liters of mead on the day, and then you take it home with you, and it's good fun. So if you want to come down, and that would be quite good fun.
Oh yeah, we'll bring the recording gear down with as well. Well, thank you very much. We better buzz off now though. So thank you very much.
Pleasure. Nice to meet you both.
Okay, I've stopped recording. But yeah.